Show you day 3, and I'm going to show you probably questions 1 through 12 here. Let me go to preview, start new attempt, and question number 1. The length of one side of a square is 16 centimeters. What is the area? So the area of the square, you go base times height really is the formula. So if we have a square, we have a square, they're equal side lengths. So 16 is on both sides. So all we're going to do is just square 16, which I don't happen to know from the top of my head. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to my calculator. Let me start this and just hit 16 squared. So let me move this out of the way. And then I get 16 squared, enter, and it's 256. So the area of this square is 256. Okay, question number 2. What are the first 6 terms of the geometric sequence generated by the equation f of x is equal to 81 times 1/3 to the x? So this is a geometric sequence because we have a times b to the x. How do you like my writing there? This is great. And so my first term is 81, and my growth factor or decay factor, this would be a decay factor, is 1/3. It's decay because it's less than 1. So they should be getting smaller. So I'm just going to, it tells me that I need to go x is 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. until the 6 terms. So I'm going to do to the 0 power. I can do that quick in my head because anything to the 0 power would just cancel out. So the first term when x is 0 would just be 81. And now the second term is going to be 81 times 1/3 to the first power. So 81, and I'm just going to go ahead and use the parenthesis, 1/3 to the first power, and that's 27. And if you think about it, 1/3 just means divide by 3. So now I have x equals 2, so 81 times 1/3 squared. So 81 parenthesis 1/3 parenthesis squared. Hit enter, and we get 9 because we're really just dividing both by 3. So my next term should be 3. I'm going to just show you. So now I have the third. So 81 parenthesis 1/3 to the third power. So I have to use this button, to the third. Hit enter, and I get 3. My next term I would think would be 1 because I keep dividing by 3. 81 parenthesis 1/3 squared now. And I'll just use this for squared, but you could use this to the second. And that will, whoa, that is 9. That surprises me. It must be a parabola, similar to a parabola. I'm going to try one more time. 81 parenthesis 1/3 squared. All right, we'll go with it. That is to the 9th power. And then what's my next term? To the 4th power or to the 1st power? Oh, that's where I messed up. Because I have 1/3. This should be to the 4th power. So 81 parenthesis 1/3 parenthesis to the, oh shoot. Let me just delete all that. 81 parenthesis 1/3 to the 4th power. And there's my 1. I thought that seemed weird because it definitely doesn't look like a parabola. And then I would assume the next one should be 1/3, and I'll just double check. Now I'm on the 5th, so I don't want to make a mistake. 81 parenthesis 1/3 parenthesis to the 5. It's going to give me a decimal. I'm going to go to the math function, the slide to a fraction, hit enter one more time, and I do get my 1/3. So that is those first 6 terms generated by that function. Remember, f of x is the same as y equals. Okay, to evaluate 86 plus parenthesis 25 plus 75, Maria rewrote the expression as 86 plus 70 plus 75 plus 25. Which property allows her to do this? So I like to compare the difference here, and it looks like my difference is my 25 swapped places with my 75. So I didn't move my parenthesis at all. I just flipped numbers, and flipping numbers is commutative property. That's something you just want to memorize. Question number 4, which of the following is not linear? So this one I can tell right away would be x to the negative 3 because it's more than a power of 1. But remember, f of x is the same as y equals. So you could graph these, and let me just go like this so I can see them. And so I would say y equals negative 3 to see if it equals a linear function. So don't forget to use this for negative. I'd graph it. That's definitely a line. The next one, this is in slope-intercept, so I automatically know it's a line. My y-intercept would be 5, and then I would go down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. But I'll go ahead and just show you how that would work. So I get negative 3, use this for x, not the x on your Chromebook, plus 5, graph it. And yeah, notice that it intercepts at 5 and goes down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. Okay, x to the negative 3. So let me clear it, and then x, the to the button, and then negative 3, graph it, and that's called a quadratic. And notice that it's not a straight line, it's curved, and curved are definitely not linear. So that's it. And we'll just show you, this is also in slope-intercept form. So we have a slope of 1, there's a 1 hidden there, and a y-intercept of negative 3. And then you go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So I'm just going to show you that. Clear this, and we get x minus 3, graph it. And yeah, so you intercepted at negative 3, and then you went up 1 over, etc. And that was a constant rate of change. Okay, number 5, which scatter plot shows a relationship that as x increases, y decreases? So that should be a negative correlation. If x is increasing, y should be going down. So I'm going to look. This one looks like it's just a constant change, horizontal change. This one is as x increases, y is getting bigger, so y is increasing. This one shows as x is increasing, y is decreasing. That's exactly what I wanted. As x increases, y decreases. And this one would be no correlation. All right, so number 6, no calculator. I'm yelling at you. Make sure to be respectful over that. Find the product in both scientific notation. Scientific notation is always times 10 to the some kind of power, and in standard form. So we're going to have to multiply these decimals by ourselves. 7.25 times 8. So this is going to probably take me a little bit here. 7.25 times 8. Be respectful over my very sloppy writing with my mouse pad. That's an 8. And then 8 times 5 is 40. So I'd write the 0, carry the 4. 8 times 2, 16, plus 4, 20. So I'm going to write the 0, carry a 2. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 2 is 58. And then I have to count my decimal spots. So it looks like I have 2 spots, 1, 2, to the right. So I should have 1, 2 spots to the right, and my decimal would be right there. So it's going to be 58 to the, and I'm going to do scientific notation first because it seems faster, times 10. And then whenever we multiply with the same bases, we add the exponents. 7 plus negative 4 is a positive 3. However, it's not in proper scientific notation because I need a decimal right there. So I'm going to make my number smaller. I'm going to write this 5.8. That's an 8 times 10. So since I made my number smaller, I make my exponent bigger. So it would be 10 to the 4th. So 5.8 times 10 to the 4th. So 5.8 times 10 to the 4th. And then I can go ahead and write it standard form from here. The 4 just means I need to move the decimal 4 spots to the right. So there's 1 spot, and then I need 3 placeholder zeros. 1, 2, 3. So it would be 58,000 would be my standard form. There we go. Okay, number 7. The equation f of x, which is a function, f of x is 0.1x minus 2.5, represents Barb's earnings each day at her sales job, selling X magazines. What does the slope represent? So slope is whatever is in front of x, and it looks like slope is 0.1. X is related to the magazines that she sells. So this tells me that she makes 0.1 for each magazine. 0.1, I'm related to dollars, so 0.1 would be 10 cents. So I'm going to try to find the match to that. The first one says it costs Barb $2.50 for materials before selling any magazines. That's actually the y-intercept, so that's not it. It costs Barb 10 cents for materials before selling any magazines. No, because that would be a negative 0.1. Barb earns 1 cent for each magazine she sells. That would look like this, 0.01, so that's not it. Barb earns 10 cents for each magazine she sells. Yep, that one is the correct one. Okay, number 8. What is the value of the expression? The absolute value, that's what these straight lines represent, absolute value, which means how far from 0. So what is the value of the expression? The absolute value of x take away y, for x is negative 5 and y is 8. So I want to subtract these two and then say how far from 0. So negative 5 minus 8, and then don't forget that it's really plus a negative. Negative 5 minus 8, that looks like an S, but whatever. Minus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That would be a negative 13, which is 13 from 0. And let me just refresh your memory on how to do that in the calculator. So you would go, let's clear this out. And then it's a math function with numbers. Abs means absolute value. And notice you get your straight bars. And now I'm going to go x minus y. So my x is negative 5. Don't forget to use this, negative 5. Take away y, which was 8. Take away 8. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and it shows that it is that 13. So the absolute value of x minus y is 13. Number 9. The lengths of two shorter sides of a right triangle measure 8 and 15. What is the length of the longest side? So you just need to remember that the longest side is always the hypotenuse, which would be equivalent to C. So I have an 8 here. It doesn't matter where you put it. A 15 here. All you need to know is that they are what created the right angle. So if you were confused by that too, you could go to what formula can I use? And you can see triangles. You have to just remember that Pythagorean theorem is anything with triangles. A and B are what make up the right angle. C is always the longest. So now what I'm going to do is just add those two. I'm going to go 8 squared, squared, plus 15 squared, hit enter, 289, and then you got to take the square root, because now what you have, just to show you, wait, what was it, 289? So now what you have is c squared is the same as 289. So c is not alone, you need to get C alone by doing the opposite of squaring. And the opposite of squaring is to square root. So square root of 280, I'm trying so hard, 9. The square root of 289. So now I already hit second, so square root 289, hit enter, and I get 17. So 17 is the longest side, and if you compare, I have 8 and 15, and 17 is definitely the longest, so I did a good job. Okay, number 10. Points A, B, and C are 3 vertices on a parallelogram. What's the 4th vertex? So that's the key word is parallelogram. Parallel means same slope as an 8th grader, what you need to know. So I need to find the slope from A to C and then work backwards to get my point over here. I'm assuming the vertex is going to be over here somewhere. So from A to C, it looks like I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I went down 7, and then over 1, 2, down 7, over 2, and then I'm just going to work backwards. So instead of going down 7, I'm going to go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, over 1 and 2. And I'm just going to double check my work here that I can go down 7 over 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Okay, yeah. So it would be right here, which is the point. X first, 1, comma, and then Y is 3. 1, comma, 3. Woo, how do you like that 3? So the point 1, comma, 3. Again, the key word was parallelogram. Number 11. Using the order of operations, which of the following expressions evaluates to 14? This would definitely be one that you can just use a calculator for. All the non-calculator are with exponents, so you need to know those rules. So I'm going to go ahead and type it in just like how they have it. Parenthesis, 6 plus 2, parenthesis, times 7 minus 3, enter. That's 53, so not my 14. My next one, 6 plus 2 times parenthesis, 7 minus 3, parenthesis, hit enter. Ooh, there's my 14. So I feel good about that, but I better double check the others. Parenthesis, 6 plus 2, parenthesis, times parenthesis, 7 minus 3, hit enter. That's 32, so not your 14. And then I have 6 plus 2 times 7 minus 3, no parentheses on that one, and that is 17. So there's only the one right answer. And the last one I'll do for this one. Oh, this one is like one that we've done. I forget which day that you guys did that, either day 1 review or day 2 review. But my strategy was to guess and check. And actually, Mr. Fossum showed me a really cool strategy that you could use systems of equations. So a multiple choice test had 50 questions. 2 points were earned for each correct answer, and 3 points were deducted for each incorrect answer. Bonita scored a total of 75 points. How many questions did she answer correctly? So what I did, our strategy from this is what she answers correctly. I'm going to call it, let's call it true. We need true and false ones. So I'm going to call this her right one, so true, and then identify what she had wrong. So if she had 5 right, it meant that she had 45 wrong. So I would go 5 times 2 for each correct answer. And then I would go parenthesis plus, and then it would be a negative, right? Because wrong answers are negative, and it's 3 points. So a negative 3, and she got 45 wrong. And I know there's no way this can be it, but I'm just showing you how to set it up. Okay, so that would be 10, 5 times 2, and your calculator will do the right order of ops, plus -3 times 45. Yeah, she was in the negative 125 points. No way. The next one, if she got 40 correct, that means she got 10 wrong. So it would be 40 times 2 for each right one. And then you got to take away her wrong ones. Take away, if she got 40 right, there were 50 questions, so she got 10 wrong. 10 times, how much were the wrong ones? 3 points. Or you could do the same. This is minusing 10 times 3 is the same as plus a negative. So that would be 40 times 2, 80. Take away 30 is 50. And she's supposed to have 75 points. But I'll just show you that in the calculator. 40 times 2, take away 10 times 3. And yep, that's the 50. Okay, next one. 45. If she got 45 right, then she got 5 wrong. So I would go 45 times 2 for each right one, add to it, or subtract what she got wrong. Subtract, and what did she get wrong? 5. 5 wrong, and each of them were 3 points, so you got to times it. Minus 5 times 3. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and type that in. 45 times 2, take away 5 times 3, and that is 75 points, which is exactly what I wanted. So that's good. I'll just show you 47 quick. 47 times 2 for each right one. And if she got 47 right, then she got 3 wrong. So take away 3 wrong. That's a 3. Times the 3 for each one she gets wrong. And so 47 times 2. 47 times 2, take away, what did I say that? That was a 3, even though it looks like a 5. 3 times 3, and that is 85, more than what she had. So yep, C is correct. And notice that I'm taking my time just to check all of them, and please make sure to do that because you have plenty of time to complete your MCAs, and I really need you to work through slowly and not be impulsive with your answers.